and tomorrow I'm the biggest bear out there, so be it.
You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. Live to trade another day, live to trade another day, live to make another play. Win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. Scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money. You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. Is it the bottom yet? I'm tryna buy up everything, not gon' get upset, just pull the trigger, let it bang. When I see a trade, I'm hopping in like a Uber to secure my future, up early just like a rooster, eyes glued to the computer, looking for a bag or two. Market cipher on the screen, compliments of trading view. Now I know what I'ma do, buy low and sell high. Even if you try and fail, at least you didn't fail to try. I don't wanna be the type of guy that let fear win. I'm the one that dive in head first and bust my chin. I know FOMO is a no-no, but I still get it in. Now I can't predict the future, but I know I'm bound to win. Later or sooner, I'll be the big kahuna, cause I got big kahunas. I was not scared to get money, I took me some chances and now I'm the big kahuna. And if you scared, might as well get neuter. I'ma keep chasing my dreams, wake up in mansion so big, I need a segue to get from wing to wing. Scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money. You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. Scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money. You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. Don't be scared, G, like paid in full, get your bread, B. Cold wallet full of crypto, yeah, Big Lebowski. Can't forget to tip the waitress, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Tupac told us about the changes, people hating on your greatness. Mansion looking hella spacious, shoes, they ain't got no laces. This the Aquarius age, life happen in different phases. Out with money, in with crypto, analog to digital. Could've been rich, but you was scared, what a imbecile. Say you want a miracle, but you bet the minimal. Should've bet it all, hell no, not the unthinkable. Grow some balls if you got a pair, man, I double dare you to put it all in the market. No sir, I'm not trying to scare you. Seeking and searching, I need some more money. AI is scary, make us look like dummies. Serious about profit, I need it, I'm hungry. My music all over, but I'm from the country. Bank account thicker than Manuka honey. Got multiple wallets, don't go in my pocket. Either's a favorite, but I don't discriminate. Scared to get money, get the hell up out my face. You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. Win some, you lose some, live to trade another day, live to make another play. Win some, you lose some, live to trade another, live to trade another day. Scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money, scared money don't make no money. You win some, you lose some, but you live to trade another day, live to make another play. Live to trade another day, live to trade another, live to trade another, live to trade another day.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. On this channel, we show you guys how to make simple, effective, and easy moves in the cryptocurrency ecosystems. So we had a big liquidation event happen that correlated and coincided with the FOMC meeting that happened yesterday, where the Feds did cut the rates as expected, 25 basis points. But the market just did not like it. It just dumped, okay? But a lot of people were thinking that it was all correlated with the Fed's hawkish tone on whether they were even going to cut the rates now or December. We're kind of given a kind of a dicey, hawkish tone, but that had nothing to do with what we've seen with the liquidations happening right now. So the liquidations pretty much correlated a lot with the orders of the CME chart. So we want to point out the fact that we did post this on Twitter. We said, hey, guys, I wouldn't expect the Bitcoin price running up here at 116,000 to continue up here in the 120s, going back to all-time highs, until we start to fill the gap in the CME chart, which means after, because you see here, what happens is you have the close on a CME. CME is registered futures where it's only 5 days a week, and then it's off on the weekends. It's just like some of the stock market now, but now that the stocks are tokenized, you can trade these tokenized stocks now 24/7. So now that's changing. That whole landscape is changing. That's why the NASDAQ is going all on chain. They want to be able to trade this stuff 24/7. But what the CME with Bitcoin and ETH and now Solana, there is a portion of the order book and the order flow that stops on Friday. So that creates what we have talked about in the industry is these gaps in the price. This happens in the stock market too, where we have either pre-market or post-market kind of stuff. We can start to see gaps in the charts and in different time intervals. You'll see the gap in a 4-hour or the daily. So the 4-hour is a great place to look for these gaps. And if a gap forms, you best bet like 80 to 90% of the time, these gaps fill. I would say maybe even say 95% of the time, they do fill. And so what happened is that we had a massive gap fill. People got a little too confident and went pretty long. So the longs got smashed. And we have a lot of liquidity actually sitting down at 104,000, where we just bounced just recently on the 17th of October. So, so this is why the overall market kind of took a bit of a plunge. Remember, Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to carry the market regardless. They're still the Mac Daddies. They're going to represent the overall sentiment. So if anything, when we get some price movements on the downside, we're going to have, a little bit of the alts getting hit. So it's just par for the course. It's nothing that we haven't seen before, but we do have bullish news. We have Tom Lee was at a conference or a festival, whatever you want to call it. I think it was it Funstrat or something like that? Yeah, we have the video, so we're going to play Tom Lee explaining his thesis on why he thinks the S&P is still going to break an all-time high going to $6,900 to $7,000, which is kind of lined up with our T that we did before knowing his price call. So we're like, yes, all right, we got some bias confirmation. But we had these very periods where, the bear market before in the last cycle was long. We had a 2-year bear market. We had a lot of black swan events, things that really dried up liquidity in terms of, the retail FOMO that was in before in 2021. Everyone signing up with these exchanges and the, Coinbase being one of the number one, downloaded app, and just things like that attributed to the euphoria. But then we went into a 2-year bear market and then also went into multiple different bear markets with NFTs, with almost just everything. And so now we've had these periods of mini bear markets and a stretched out super cycle. And it all lines up with the Fed. It all lines up with our own short-term, also recent black swan events with geopolitical things, with tariffs, with Trump, with the presidency. A lot of things line up with why we've been chopping around. And so I think we are still in a bull market, my friends, is the point I'm trying to make here. So I'm very excited, and I hope you guys are excited as well. And so make sure you're smashing up that like button and you're sharing this live stream, because look, let's be honest, I have 4,000 subscribers and they don't let everyone know that I go live. They don't even let the people know that have clicked the bell button that I have gone live. That's how bad YouTube is shadow banning me right now. It's pretty atrocious. And then when you go on Twitter, it's a little bit better. You know, I get a little bit more of the algorithm over here, so that's great. And that's partly due to the Sprotos. The shout out to the Sproto Gremlins. And speaking of the Sproto Gremlins, we had Mr. Red Kev on the live stream last night. We had a 3-hour conversation. We went like Joe Rogan style, almost like podcast. I thought we were just going to go for maybe like an hour and a half, but we were just like, I knew we were just going to want to hit on a bunch of different topics, and I just wanted to pick his brain on certain things. And I felt like maybe I was trying to just like validate that I wasn't as crazy as having these certain opinions. And I wanted him to be like, yes, you are right. But no, we did, relatively agree on a lot of things. And it was a great conversation, and we hit on a lot of topics. So if you missed it, make sure you check it out. It's right here. I'll put a link in the chat. So if you guys want to go back and watch it, you can feel free to do so. But yeah, the algorithm really works when you have the Sprotos on your side. So I want to give a shout out to the Sproto Gremlins and the Ticker Bitcoin, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10, ENU community. Want to give a major shout out. And this will be us here pretty soon, you know, just sending multiple ETHs back and forth to each other, peer to peer, through a privacy network. Let's go. ZK proof, baby. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and start the show off by doing a little bit of TA. You know, we'll do some TA. We showed you why Bitcoin went where it went and why it ended up going there, and you shouldn't have been surprised, and everyone should should know the play here that they keep doing is they get us trading up into an event or a date, which is the FOMC, and then Binance and the big boys that control 60 to 70% of the leverage on the market will dump on good news, because it's the reverse psychology of, okay, good news, FOMC, we know the rates are going to get cut, so then they smash you. So what I've done is like, I'm going to stop trading, and I already did this. I stopped trading. I'm locking in on the things that I was already bullish on for the past 3 years. Some of them being a little bit newer than others, but some of the things that I've discovered in my crypto journey, I'm still bullish on today. And so it's only just gotten stronger, which means that if some things have fell to the wayside and then some things have held on, it means I have strong conviction for it, which is what you need to actually make true gains with the risk. You're taking the risk of investing in this market to begin with, or anything. It all go to zero. But we have to take a risk on something, because if we're not going to invest, we know that the feds, they print the money, inflation sucks, everything's getting more expensive, your dollar is losing its value every single day, and if you end up just doing nothing, you are still taking a massive risk, okay? So, especially when we are calling for altcoin season and, really embarrassing ourselves, constantly saying like, we will have an altcoin season, we will. But, Alex Becker is also, he's literally one of the biggest, quote, KOLs, crypto poppy in the space. And he constantly is calling for altcoin season, and people make fun of him every single day for being, delusional on the alt season. But we're right, almost just as damn delusional, but you have to be. Because you have to hold through the pain, the FUD, and all of the attacks to eventually get to a point where you realize that it's not that far-fetched to think that ETH could just do a 2x. Wow, okay, yeah, ETH do a 2. I think it's possible. We've shown you what the play was with Bitcoin and the ETFs, and we said it for basically for the past 2 years now, that since the ETF, the trading volume is going to come in so heavy that it's going to absorb the selling pressure, even from things that usually hit the timeline with FUD of OG wallets being resurrected, or with you know, country like, you know, something like Germany, just Germany selling their crypto, and then it was like it just got absorbed completely. So it's yeah, pretty. It's not that far-fetched to think that with the Ethereum ETF, with staking, we already have the Solana ETF with Grayscale and Bitwise, both have staking. If you look at the ETH ETF, all pending on staking besides Grayscale. So Grayscale's already got the staking aspect locked in. Why? Because they were kind of the original ETH Grace trust, and also the original Bitcoin trust, which they eventually now have switched into ETFs and have been offloading their trust. And these companies have been buying it and absorbing their trust. And then now they've switched and flipped into a ETF. And they're doing the same thing with Solana. So what this is doing is creating more of a regulated out and inflow that will go against what's happening with Binance doing this. So the best way that I can pull the market together and think and give you an explanation of why it dumps like this, why it swings like this, why it chops and then eventually runs and you get sidelined because you thought it was over. It's because Binance is doing some shady shit. And so this was just this morning, you can see like right here, this is thanks to Butcher. He's looking at the same stuff I'm looking at. Binance hot wallets going heavy on dumping tons of ETH, Bitcoin, and Sol. They do it with these coins right here. What's the ticker, Squirrely? The ticker, I'll tell you. The ticker is my bags. How about that? The ticker's my bags. Here's the ticker. The ticker's Bitcoin, baby, according to Jesse Pollock. Shout out to I mean, this is just amazing. So this right here, Jinxie, right here, one of the ticker Bitcoin, a Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, 10 new Sproto Gremlin artists. Jesse reposted this and said, "Are you on base?" I mean, come on, look at this branding. This is so cool. I love this. This is amazing. Yeah, me and Red Kev went over this. We were trying to touch on a lot of the lore and the creation of this particular NFT and project, and like just the things that they've been through. And that's what you need in a community. It's like you don't need a community that like just basically is, you know, it feels kind of like almost like a fabricated up only, and then it's like you're very scared. It's like you're like, if it's real, this is like a false reality, and all of a sudden you get rugged. That's that is just as worse. And then let's say you can make money in something like that, but it's still such a massive risk. And you think of something like Ticker Bitcoin or Pepe or Mog, SPX 6900, any of these like communities that have a cult following around it, they've gone through ebbs and flows of bearishness, bullishness, FUD, people either leaving the project or maybe even they've had to CTO it. They've just gone through the normal process of figuring out if it's going to be lasting effect of a community, staying power. That's what Doge was able to establish. I think SHIB obviously was able to establish this. Pepe was the starter and basically was like lit the beacon to like get back, you know, make memes great again. And then you go into the whole contract lore. You get into kind of like why certain projects even ended up being the one, because there's all these different copycats or different projects that end up hitting the timeline that they're like, well, this is the real one. But it's like, if you look at the codes and the symbols and the metaphor and the connection, like a freaking skit, like a ADHD autistic person would connect it all. you wouldn't really, you're not going to see, you're just going to see it at surface level. But when I see something like this, I get excited. This is like, okay. I'm glad I discovered this. Because it's really, really cool. But that's the power and the spirit of meme communities. That's the whole thing that Morad, that made him famous coming up in the timeline, was he just eloquently explained what the people in crypto that are exploring in here are feeling. Is that there's got to be something that we as a community can have that doesn't have the VC control, where you just don't get the same type of opportunity and entry as these insiders are getting with a lot of these big vaporware projects that are wanting you to risk your money to get in, and they're not really, it's not a very open chart. I think with the meme coins, we've always explained this thesis, is that you have way more of a chance to clip out, especially on strong liquid coins during a bull run, to be able to literally clip out thousands of dollars. And that's why it's very important that you do find stuff that is going to be liquid and is going to have that type of hodability, because then when it does get to the good times, the champagne popping bottles, you're not like getting hit with 30% slippage trying to get out of your shitcoin. Very important, because people forget that. Mason, actually, Crypto Mason, shout out to Crypto Mason. He pointed out the fact, he was like, oh, look at my meme portfolio. Well, guess what? I can't take profits because one, there's not enough liquidity and it's super high slippage. And it shows you the reality of some of these portfolios. Yeah, your portfolio is up $1 million, but can you even take the profit without destroying the freaking chart? So then we talked about this with Ticker Bitcoin last night with Red Kev. It is one of those charts that has had that resilience of. I gotta bookmark these because we were talking about a few different coins, so it's like I'm trying to keep these all on my list so I can really keep an eye on these things. But like Ticker Bitcoin had a big whale sell, and we saw it happen. We knew it was happening, and it was one of those things that could in other instances just have destroyed a project. Okay, but it wicked down and it just got absorbed. So whoever was like a believer at this point was just like, oh, we're gonna buy the crap out of this thing. Because the person who was a whale, they were kind of early in the project. I mean, they got like early in, like somewhere around here, like probably around launch. So they were up a lot, and for some reason, that I don't know of, they were just like, yeah, we're just, they sold. But they sold in 3 different clips, 3-4 transactions, but that totaled up $4 million. Okay? So it got hit pretty hard, but then it just was absorbed, and people were like, okay, I'm just going to DCA this thing. And so it all kind of coincided right before the Trump pump, though. And then everything, all altcoins just got cooked. It wasn't just your altcoin. It wasn't just your meme coin. Everything went into the tubes and went right back into the accumulation zone, which is, quote, the bottom, which is like every meme coin right now that is your favorite meme coin that did any kind of thing like this is back in that zone. But very interesting when you see something like this. But when Solana coins get hit like that and people pull the full clips and do the 2x JEET, that's why some of these Solana coins look like they do. For instance, we pointed out Melania, and the Melania chart just looks so, it's just so bad. Yeah, is this the one? Yeah. I mean, it's so bad. Like when they started selling on this one, it was just like just in the floor. Now that's a true rug. That's a true rug. You got a nice big daily green candle, and then the next daily candle wicks up really fast, and then just completely you just get destroyed. This was a dirty one, and this caused one of the biggest PvP events I think that we forget about, because it happened so fast that all the people that were in the Trump coin, made profits and started cheating as fast as they could to then dump Trump to get into Melania. It was just atrocious. It was a nightmare. But the one thing that I do want to point out, though, with the difference between Melania and Trump, because you could say, okay, well, this is also a rug, too. Not necessarily. Because when you look at the liquidity, they still have kept up the liquidity to 325 million. Okay? So when we talked about people being able to take full clips, think about the team that has supply that's locked that they want to be able to sell when it gets unlocked. Which I think happened probably right here. So is there any other price point where they're going to want to start to take profits, especially where I'm going to segue into Solana? Look at the Solana BTC ratio. Look at the Solana BTC ratio. It's experienced a double bottom here, and I think it's going to break out and touch into the 618 or the 786 from the previous bull run. This is where I've just like, we are in still such an accumulation mode, and if we can do this properly, we can time it right. Is my microphone loud enough, by the way? I hope it's loud enough. For some reason, I feel like it got turned down. There we go. I think that's better. Is that better? My volume was like almost all the way down. But shout out to you guys if you're tuning in. I really do appreciate it. There's still only 3 people on YouTube? What is going on? That is so crazy. I guess people got, did you get cooked or something? Did you get discouraged? Holy moly. Man, that's pretty wild. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I'm telling you, YouTube it really is being kind of nasty, because with almost 4,000 subscribers, they're only letting 2 people. They're only letting 2 people know that I'm live. That is crazy. That is insane. Because look at the difference. I got 62 people that are tuning in on X, and there's Mr. Dave and whoever else is that one extra person. It's probably counting me as the extra person. It's like what a joke. What a joke YouTube is sometimes. It's so wild. All right, let's get into this video. We're gonna play this video because Tom Lee actually pulled up some really good charts. So we want to point out his observation that we are indeed it's still in a bull market, and there should be no reason to fret.
And I'm excited to do a presentation for you. I've got a lot of slides to get through, but I want to cover really how to think about the next 12 months and think about some of the most important themes driving stocks. And before I forget, Fundstrat does have a booth here, so if you want to go visit us, we're just down that way. We've got everyone here: Tireless Ken, Mark Newton, Sean Farrell, so you can meet everybody. Okay, so here's the rough outline. Foremost, I want to tell you I think we're still in a bull market, and I think it is about U.S. leadership versus the rest of the world. I think it's going to be clear.
Okay, so when he means about US leadership versus the rest of the world, we've been talking about this, and when we've been breaking down our thesis on why you should just be accumulating digital assets and not really trading so much and trying to time tops and bottoms, you just need to be DCAing and getting a good dollar cost average into really good high quality assets that have good software, good tech, they're actually being used, and then you're also getting in the most asymmetric upside stuff that's being fudded to the ground and also that has the strongest, loudest community, even despite the FUD. That's how you're going to win. Morad actually explains this. He's like, actually, the best FUDed communities are the ones that have the most asymmetric upside. Perfect example is XRP. XRP was FUDed so bad for the longest time, to the point of then being in the lawsuit. And then what happens as we go through a period of this 30, 25 cent, 30 cent consolidation for forever, it seemed like it went up 1,000%. So do you see the benefit of actually holding something that is like this, that has the FUD, but then a very loud, delusional community of people that will be willing to hold to see if they can, with the risk. But the point I'm trying to make is that America is going to set the example for the rest of the world by the Bitcoin standard, by what we're going to do by selling the gold to go into digital assets, to rebase the dollar, to pay off the national debt. That's the plan. That's the master plan, I think, that we have coming down the pipe here. So what we do also in AI and also in blockchain, which is goes in tandem. AI and blockchain are going to work together. It's not going to be one or the other, because AI is going to need, and especially through how everything has been operating, they both need each other. So, but we're going to try and set the pace and the standard, which means we need to be investing in it.
Here as I walk you through the reasons for that. And the first place to start is why I think the investment outlook is better now than it was at the start of the year. So the S&P's up 10% year to date. You can see that huge dip that started in February, was a waterfall decline in April. I think a lot of people panicked and unfortunately sold at the bottom. But we had advised folks that when you see waterfall declines, as long as you don't have a recession, markets will stage a reciprocal recovery, which is in fact what happened. So think of...
And something to point out on this chart, that's the exact bottom of last year. We pointed this out as well. When you go to the S&P 500 and you look at where it bottomed out, you can see it on the weekly. It is the exact spot of where we bottomed and had a dip in April 2024. So it dipped almost perfectly. So it wicked below it to kind of fake out people, to get them to sell, to think, okay, oh gosh, it's going to go down lower to like this liquidity area, or even it was going to scare people to think it was going to go to 4,100. So it went down to the prior year low and then recovered right on the money. And then it's done this kind of before in 2020, where we had a massive run. It hit an all-time high, and then it recovered, and then it went down and consolidated to a low that was pretty close to the previous year. Because you see October 2020, and then you go in and see October 2020. So it always seems like the S&P will rally for a year, hit an all-time high, consolidate back down close to the low of where it was kind of previously, and then continue to run, because that's exactly what happened. Then it bottomed here in the bear market here. Now it ran up to the all-time high of 2024, consolidated, and then in April it bottomed, went up for a year, all-time high, bottomed. Now we're having it to where it's going to hit an all-time high here pretty soon, going into $7,000, which is his price target of the S&P, to then potentially consolidate. I don't know, when is it going to consolidate? But I mean, that would be a good resistance point. So from here, S&P, which is being heavily carried by tech stocks and AI, would see another 3%. But what we really want to focus on is not the S&P. We want to focus on things like we can look at the Russell, because the Russell, from those same exact points of where we were just talking about of the S&P, has went up 137%, 85%. So if we just get an average range between this, a median range, that would be 100%. So the Russell isn't up there yet. We're like halfway there, which means like we still have some time to go.
That decline, which in a way was a bear market because it reset positioning, and now we're in a new bull market, but that was actually a very predictable recovery. And so if you ask me where I think we are by the end of the year, I do think it's a strong fourth quarter. So I think the S&P gets us to 68, 6,900, possibly higher. Mark Newton does think, again, similarly, that we're going to have a big fourth quarter. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, corporate profits are strong. Household balance sheets are still strong. We've got a lot of AI visibility. Something to think about, many people don't, is the financial sector is about to have some pretty big productivity gains coming the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm going to cover that in this presentation. And the Fed is going to cut rates. Okay. So let's start with the ISM. And the ISM is still below 50. It's at 48.7. If you're not familiar with it, it is the most widely used measure of manufacturing confidence. And it's 31 months now below 50. That is the longest stretch in the history of the index itself.
And that's interesting. If that is the longest stretch, that would make sense of why Bitcoin has looked like this on the log chart compared to the other halving points and bull markets that we've had in the past. You can see if that is the case, then this is why Bitcoin has been doing this. Okay.
And as we point out here, you've never been late cycle in the stock market when the ISM is below 50. In fact, you've always been mid-cycle, early cycle. So it's actually a very bullish sign that the ISM is still below 50. And in terms of households, I think the biggest reason to be optimistic on households is that there's still a lot of pent-up demand. In the last 10 years, we've actually created 15 million household formations, meaning the number of people that need housing units, and yet we've only built 13.5 million homes. So there is a shortage of housing, and that is a contrast to 2008 when we had 10 million household formations and 17 million homes built. So instead of an excess of housing, we have a shortage. That's future demand. The Fed is more dovish this year as well, and I think it's going to play into September. As you know, a lot of people are warning you about this month, saying stocks could decline because that's the seasonal pattern. But we think stocks will do well this month. And the reason for that is the Fed's been on hold, and Iraq's nuclear are forecasting 1.3 trillion. NVIDIA traded at Costco's multiple. The stock would be over 300. I think Costco is a lot less scarce than NVIDIA. So if you ask me, if NVIDIA is cheap, the AI trade is still massively undervalued. And there's a lot of productivity. Google, this is a CNBC story. Google's eliminated 35% of managers overseeing small teams.
So we were talking about this, and we had this thought, and my wife pointed it out too. She was like, I think these companies are firing people that they've had on their team as part, as their employee, or the managers, or whoever's making a big salary, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna let them go because we can do most of their job with an AI agent, and then we'll hire some new person that's coming out of college and pay them like half the salary because they'll take it because they're desperate for the job because they hear about, you know, people getting laid off and they're like, oh my God, I'll take this job. And do you kind of see the play here?
That's productivity. Now, there's a lot of people that say that this is an AI bubble. In fact, at Fundstrat, that's something we hear a lot because we hear from our clients. We have roughly 10,000 RIA and family office clients, and we hear from them a lot. Not everyone's bullish on AI. But here's the reason to be bullish on AI. The world has a structural shortage of labor. The blue line is the prime age workforce globally, and as you can see, the growth rate is slowing, okay? But the gray line is the total world population, which is growing faster than the prime age workforce. So as that blue line shows, we have a structural shortage of labor, which is the first time since 1973. So think about this. Starting in 2018, the world actually had a shortage of prime age workers. But for 2 generations, so many of us who started covering stocks in 1973, and I started covering stocks in 1973 when I was young. I'm just kidding. But for 50 years, people who invested never had to think about labor shortage. But actually, that's changed. And how does that change how you should invest? Well, I have a chart going back to 1947. And in the United States, because we have a lot of data here, there have been 2 other times where the US had structural labor shortage. 1948 to 67 and 1991 to 99. And in the gray box, I highlighted that. Whenever there's been labor shortage in America, technology spend goes parabolic.
Interesting.
It makes a lot of sense. What it's saying is, if you don't have enough workers, then companies have to find non-human workers. Well, we're entering the 3rd phase, and that's why folks are calling this a super cycle for AI.
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, and that would make sense of and also just the Nvidia trade. He pointed out the fact that even though Nvidia is valued at 4.5 trillion, it's still trading only like, I guess it's not trading up as times of like say Costco or Walmart, or because those stocks trade 32 times its value as opposed to what Nvidia is doing right now. And so this AI bubble is being powered by Nvidia with it, you know, kind of supporting all of these different AI ventures as a scope. So it is interesting. But yeah, that's a very good chart right there to represent, like, okay, if that is the case with the shortage of labor, and then we've just had a parabolic run of tech investing, we're going into, and then the tech investing is us paying attention to the total cryptocurrency, you know, market cap chart, which represents a parabolic run in each portion of tech. So each portion of new tech and cycle that comes in crypto, like we've had the ICO season and smart contracts all right here, you know, and that was a growth of from the bottom, you know, 21%, 21,000% move to the upside of growth. And then from here, you know, we had retail and you know, people coming in, a DeFi season, BNB, all that crap. Then we had another growth period of 3,000 going into there. And then we went into the bear market. Skeletons were revealed in the closet, and we have bottomed out now here, going into the quote, you know, ETF presidential cycle, business cycle. And I think this is where we could get a nice push up to, you know, 1,000%, you know, growth to the upside, which brings us to a $19-20 trillion cryptocurrency market cap. It only makes sense, right? So this is where if you look at crypto like this, you'll stop trading, you'll probably stop leverage trading, and you will just start to be backing the damn truck up. You'll start selling the second car. You'll start finding ways to get extra capital, which if that's trading for you, great. Figure it out, cool. Just get in and out, take the profits, don't get greedy, don't think you're a genius trader, and then be happy with your wins and take those and DCA immediately, get it off the exchange, and you will like sleep better at night. Just so you know. I went down the rabbit hole, I did the things, I've tested all the stuff. Guess what? Nothing works better than dollar cost averaging crypto. And nothing but works better than compounding interest on your investment accounts to begin with. The only reason you get convinced to try and do anything else is because you get bored, you don't feel like waiting, and you want to do things that are, quote, fun and give you the dopamine hits. Let's be honest with ourselves here. So when you start to zoom out, this is where I have the opinion that it is investing. It's not gambling when you're doing this, because you are becoming a macro investor because you're realizing what you have. You realize what you have in front of you. This is the bleeding edge of culture, tech, art, finance, DeFi, institutional adoption, all that right here inside of one freaking chart. Total cryptocurrency market cap. That is literally the entire space, not even surpassing the value of this right now. But guess what? This is what powers this. And this is what powers AI. It's all connected. So do you see how we're massively undervalued? And we're buying the early bleeding edge of culture and also money. This is why I have decided, like, I am not going to leverage this. I don't need to leverage it. Me just buying spot is the leverage against the system. I don't have to 2x it. I don't have to 10x it. I don't have to 50x it. I don't need to hyper liquid it. I just need to freaking buy it. And guess what? That's what a lot of the mega whales did in these cycles with some of these meme coins, with some of these altcoins. They just bought. They just put their money where their mouth is. They put 10K into 3 coins, 4 coins. 3 of them could have went to 0 and lost all of it, but then 1 of them hit. Boom. And then you'd see what the potential is here. That's like one of the best like advices I can give you guys is just find your edge and your stuff that you understand, and it can be completely different than the next guy, and you will be successful. You really will. Because then you will stop getting distracted. You'll stop, you'll figure out a thesis here. And it really is valuable, because I do not want to lead people to the slaughter. I want to lead people to demystify crypto, to hopefully get them protected, have more thoughts on being privacy, making sure you don't get hacked, encouraging self-custody, knowing that you will use exchanges, but you don't want to marry them. Like, these are the facts, my friends. And this is the most valuable stuff that I know I can present to you. Because I know where everyone for the longest time now, especially over the past 6 months, have been convinced to be controlled by their dopamine. And then think this is just a 3-month, 6-month game. Not knowing we have the biggest opportunity ever. It's pretty apparent now. But then you'll go to the timeline, you'll see FUD and you'll see this stuff like this, but then they'll say, oh, we're going in a bear market, it's toast. Like, here's you're gonna be buying the top, you're gonna be buying top again. How's your DCA going? Making you feel like you're stupid. But really it was it's just the exchanges liquidating people, which is AKA why you should stop trading. And you just need to look at the BTC ratios of altcoins and go, wow, not even close. Not even close. We're not even up here yet. We're not even at the 786. We haven't even hit the 786 yet of the Fibonacci extension for the ETH BTC ratio. So we have some time, my friends. But thank you for tuning in. We'll just use the last couple minutes here to do like a little Q&A if you guys like. We have 80 people watching on X, so make sure you repost this, hit the heart button. Nice. I love this. Shout out to Tom Crown. Tom Crown was kind of pointing out the obvious. He's like, new bundled scammers meta just dropped. Kit Kat. And then you see all the usual suspects. You got Crypto Bitlord, James Wynn, Jake Gagan, Banksy. You know, usual suspects that always end up in these damn spaces promoting something. I went on a rant about James Wynn and how he reminded me of the biggest extraction, thing that hit crypto Twitter back 2 years, 3 years ago was bin.eth. And anyone that gives me bin.eth vibes, I immediately need to run away. And I do, and I block them. And I try not to have them on my feed. It's very important. But it was cool last night. We actually had Brett comment on one of our posts, and also Ansem. We were getting the algo last night. Ansem was caught tweeting in 4K, and I was like, our necks are effed. And he was like, unbelievably effed. And I was like, well, I know your chick probably has a yoga wheel, so you need to go and get on that yoga wheel. But we are starting to pop up in the big accounts algorithm, so stop it, Scuba Gerbil. You stop it. Now, let's pull up the Bitcoin chart. I don't even know if you could even look at the chart anymore. It's probably that bad. But let's look at it. Gosh, Bitcoin. Yeah, you can't even. I don't even think you can. I don't even think it's like you can even look it up. I don't even know. I don't even think you can even find it anymore. Yeah, that was atrocious. But yeah, right now though, everything looks like crap. Everything is going to look like crap, especially when we have a nice consolidation on Bitcoin. So all of your alts are going to look like trash. Everything's going to look like trash. All the stuff that was just pumping just gave it the gains right back to the market. Even the strong stuff, I mean, Pepe, Bonk, look, ARB, everything down 7, 8, 10, 9, 12, 12%. Link down 6%. LTC, look, these are the times where you have to put your money where your mouth is. You don't complain. You don't go, oh, it's over. No, what do you like? Okay, it's red. It's in the green. Everyone's saying it's over. You buy. That's what you have to do. You have to flip your psychology. You have to just shut everyone up because they're shorters. They're trading. They're trying to trade, so they're shorting the market. They have incentive for you for the timeline to be bearish and to make fun of you for DCAing because they are in a short. They don't care either way, to be honest. When it comes to some of those traders, they don't give a crap. That's why I think trading is kind of a cancer to the space, because it's like at the end of the day, if we all just kind of woke up and bought the token on chain and then didn't sell the damn thing, we'd have a lot more ratios of millionaires in this space. And let's just be freaking honest. We'd have a lot more ratios of people being able to experience what it is to hold something that people are not selling more than buying it. We forget about that the supply and demand mechanism of Bitcoin, of crypto, it still kind of works like that. You have more people buying it and holding it and not selling it. You have a higher ratio of people to become rich. And we've gotten so into this PvP BS, and it's literally at the expense of the whole point of why we're even trying to. We completely missed the freaking plot here. That's why I think Dogecoin kind of became what it was, and SHIB, and some of these meme coins that can kind of go in the same category, but it had that essence so strong that that Robinhood had to stop the sell button. So strong that they had to stop the buy and sell button. That's how strong we can become, but we are stupid. For real. We could all right now rally behind 5 tokens and call it a damn day. But no, all these companies, they got to make money. There's all the things. I get it. It's DeFi, it's crypto. I get it. The ecosystems, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I want a freaking cult gilded runner that cannot be stopped. That's what I want. I want to go back to the old damn days, man. Tired of it's like, oh, there's 17, 18 different ones. You got to figure out what it is. You know, it's crazy. But at the end of the day, you got to find out what you're going to pick to go into this game and this risk game. And then hopefully you can call yourself a macro investor instead of a Tardio bag holder that is in the group chat. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if we're actually popping up in the algorithm for these accounts. Maybe they'll actually message me back and they'll come on the live stream. We'd actually love to have Ansem on the live stream. We'd love to pick his brain and just see what he thinks about the market. And yeah, so if you have any connections with Ansem, see if we can get him on, because he's definitely a controversial figure. So it'd be cool to actually be cool to have a conversation with him. Let's see if is YouTube still okay. 6 people. All right, we got Scuba Gerbil, we got Dave in the house, we got Trade Intuition. I don't know what's going on, man. YouTube is just YouTube is bonking
yesterday's Fed rate decision from Jeremy Siegel. He is chief economist at Wisdom Tree. He's also professor emeritus of finance at University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business. And Jeremy, we were speaking earlier today with Roger Ferguson, the former vice chair at the Fed. His take was kind of interesting on this, that first of all, he applauded that Jay Powell very firmly said that this is not a glide path, that the next rate cut may not be happening on this. And he's a little concerned about the potential for stagflation here, too. What's your takeaway?
Well, you're certainly right, Becky. You know, he said not only is a rate cut not a sure thing for the December meeting, he's emphasized by saying far from it. Those words, I think the Dow dropped 150 points in 5 seconds after that. I think my take is that this will slow down the bull market. I don't think it's going to stop the bull market. But
so it's a good observation. So if you're a short-term trader and you're thinking all in short term, you'll take this and be like, but if you're a long-term investor, you're going to see it as a buying opportunity. You will see it as classic, the fear, the hawkish kind of tone. But we know that there's 5 other meetings that they're going to potentially cut the rates and continue to get to kind of a target area that also correlates with quarter 1 and 2 of next year being the actual most bullish time, which would be still in a shorter. It's weird because it's like you get this setup. It's like fear. Everyone, you get all the weekend shaken out, and then it's like boom. boom, and then it just starts to go. And then the craziest points to be able to take profits are in the last 2 to 3 months. That is when the craziest times happen, is in the last 2 to 3 months of the actual run. And our goal is to try and scoop off profits during that period. Okay? Maybe in the best way, and the best strategy too, is just to like, hey, it all depends on relative of your portfolio. If you're going to be taking profits out of 2x, 3x, 5x, your portfolio is going to look different than mine. You might have got early entries that I didn't, and you're up 5x already. I mean, I even say you got 50K in profits that you could scoop off. I would probably do that. Not financial advice, but I mean, shit, that's a nice hedge. Hey, that's a nice hedge. Okay, so then that's what our goal is like we want to be just primarily holding spot through all this volatility, backing the damn truck up, and then getting to the point to where it's game on. So bull market ain't over, my friends.
But but they are looking at strength in the economy, and basically saying that it's not a sure thing. Now we have 6 weeks. The next meeting is December 10th. I think the next 6 weeks are very important because even though it ends December 10th is 2 weeks before Christmas, we're going to get a good idea about how the consumer is going to be reacting to a number of tariff increased prices from all the goods that they're going to buy for the holiday season. And we're also going to see whether layoffs from AI.
People are going to be maxing out credit cards. That's what we need to look at. I think we need to look at the credit card data after December of this year, because I bet that it's going to be record numbers of credit cards being just to the max. That's my prediction, because people are just going to be like, yeah, I'm not, yeah, it's going to be max credit cards.
Accelerate or not. So I think what they're saying is, I want to see that data. And by the way, whether the government opens or not, and I certainly hope by December 10th it's going to be reopened, but I think they're going to have enough data. I think they have enough alternative sources of data to determine whether there is going to be a slowdown of the consumer. The good news is, I think the Fed has our back. They're essentially saying, if we do see a slowdown, we will cut. But if we see the strength that we are seeing right now, we're going to maybe wait another meeting and see what happens in January.
So you said you think that this slows down the bull market but doesn't stop it. Is that because you think that the market doesn't need rate cuts in order to continue to push higher? There's enough happening on the corporate front, on the economic front? Or do you think that eventually the Fed has to say, okay, we're going to give you what you want?
No, I think that, my feeling is we should be a bit lower. But I also have always said that I don't, we see now the 10-year at 410. I never thought people were talking about the 10 years going down to 375. Mortgage rates are going to go down. No, I really just thought that lowering that short rate was going to normalize the term structure, which means that, long rates are supposed to be above short rates. Now we have it, fine, 410. We're going to get down to 388 on the Fed funds. Now that's narrower than usual. But, I never thought that the really long rate is going to do it. Listen, it's basically earnings. Earnings are great. Guidance has been good. The AI story is still alive. But a lot of investors are going to say, okay, I'm not going to get 3 3/4, 3.5% long rate. I've got to recalibrate that, and I think that is putting a lid on it. So I do see an increase, but I think a slower increase as a result of the caution of the Fed.
Mike Santoli was just with us talking about at 6,900, the S&P 500 was already pretty far ahead of where most Wall Street analysts were anticipating, most strategists were anticipating we'd be for the end of the year. How about you?
Yeah, well, it's even above what I am, and I'm pretty bullish on the stock market. That 7,000 looked like kind of a slam dunk. It's not a slam dunk anymore. It certainly, I think, can be there, and I don't think that we have a market that is really vulnerable at this particular point to a.
So that's a little
The
observation.
US
I like
government
that one.
shutdown is now into its 30th day, and even the Democrats have had enough of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' unhinged demands that are holding the government and the American people to ransom.
Well, I think
So the prediction right now for that, when will the government shutdown end? And we now have a nice big spike of it ending November 16th. 47% chance that it ends on the 16th. Now, but we do have this one creeping up that it does happen a little bit before in the beginning of November, on the first week, November's 4th and 7th, a 20% chance. But this one had a nice spike of 47%. This prediction of the November 16th was actually at its highest point, but then bottomed out. And you can see here on October 18th, we had this really spike up because we kind of had a fair shot here of what was going to be the actual date, but the margins between these dates are very slim. They're literally on the week. So you're literally betting on yes, no odds on a week spread. So it's going to get a little tricky because what will end up happening potentially is with whatever news ends up breaking, and insiders who know the news is going to break of it, the government's going to end up reopening on the first week of November. You'll see this 20% spike up to 50 to counteract on the November 16th, and then be a 50-50 split to then get the insiders in to print from these freaking prediction markets. So, because look, the November 4th and 7th is creeping right up to get a half split now of if it's going to end in November 16th or the first week in November. So now it's getting a little interesting, my friends. It's getting a little interesting. All right. Win 1 million hype. What is it? Oh. Bull run. Yes. Yes, indeed. The ticker is Bitcoin. Let's go. Let's go. The best memes. Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Tandino definitely has the best memes. Oh, what? Did I just get forwarded from this? Some of these I'm scared to click on. But they're fun. All right, guys. I think that's it. I think that's all we're gonna cover. I think that's pretty much it. I'll show you what I'm interested in right now. This is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in PDI, Wojak, the incentive token, Hex. I'm very curious about the lore and the contract lore for Rage Guy, because there's been a lot of controversy and back and forth of which one's the actual Rage Guy. And it's just like, well, if Pepe was able to get the contract lore, and other contracts and projects are able to do that, and then this Rage Guy has the FU in the contract, then hey, I bought like $30 of it. I mean, big deal. I might buy more, but Also, I'm curious with the XL1, the XYO layer 1. It's very early on, so it's been pretty just like sideways. It's just been flat. So I'm curious to see if this thing can just kind of just get a pump. Like maybe they'll pump it. Who knows? Zara is in the early stage privacy pick. Thanks to my friend Headband, he was really bullish on this. It still is, and the dev is doxed, going and trying to get, he has signed NDAs, is building a dashboard, but then also has a physical hardware wallet. I think they're going to try and market along with the dashboard being built in with it. So let's see how that goes. That's kind of an early privacy play, ZK proof stuff. PulseX is the Uniswap of Pulse Chain. So like if you're gonna get into the Pulse Chain ecosystem, I think it's fair to say you just get the core coins. The core coins are PLS, PLSX, Hex, Incentive, and then from there you just kind of have to figure out what you want. You got the PDI narrative, you got the Grace currencies, you got the teddy bear, you got Peacock, which is Liberty Swap, CTO'd. I mean, you can just kind of go to town. But there's some fun stuff. I mean, honestly, I don't know why people give Pulse Chain such a bad rap. I mean, it really does have, I mean, it's no different necessarily than any other chain. You know, it's the same kind of model. You got all the necessary things of DeFi. You can do your liquidity, you can farm, you can, mint a token on pump.tires if you want to. You can, and it gets bonded right to PLSX. It's like, try it out. Most people that talk crap about Pulse Chain never used it, never tried it. They just talk a bunch of talk. So I don't like doing that. I like testing stuff, and then I'll have an opinion. Brett, I bought back into Brett. I didn't have a single Brett because it was one of those things that really made me mad. I found Brett really early. I don't know if it's a freaking insider coin. I don't know if it's bundled. I just, all I knew was that it was based on Brett. Coinbase was most likely going to probably end up picking it as its unofficial mascot. That was my thesis originally. Then I started to see and find other accounts like Crashiest Clay pops up on the timeline. And I'm like, who's this guy? And then he breaks down this whole thesis. But the difference is that he put in thousands and I put in hundreds. It's the only difference. Literally only difference is that Crash doubled, tripled, quadrupled down. I put in like a couple $100. so that's the difference. But then when I listened to his breakdown, I was like, damn, that is exactly how I feel about this. But I feel like about this with a few different coins. It wasn't just Brett. It was just the idea. Well, bundled means that there's wallets that end up having the supply early on, and it makes it to where it's like, it's not, quote, a fair launch. It's more or less like it's bundled into the launch. And so whether you say, okay, well, and so Crashiest, I liked his breakdown of, he's like, what do you mean? Like, oh, if Brett's like a scam, or oh, Ponky's a scam, or whatever. He's like, most of the coins of the quote VC vaporware coins have the same type of quote bundle thing happening with it. And no one questions that, but then if you question it in a meme coin, it's different. So I liked his comparison of the double standard that some people would argue against something like that. And that's where I went, okay, that's the same kind of thing that you would say as with Pepe, silent launch, but in a way was able and had to still battle through FUD, and then ultimately got picked up because of the contract lore, because of the nature of how it was then launched. Then it got picked up by the exchanges. Exchanges bought a supply in the millions and millions and millions of dollars, which ultimately combined with real people buying Pepe sent the damn thing to where it has gone. And so same thing happened with SHIB. So what I had this theory on Brett early on in freaking March of 2024, and when I was talking to Ragsy, it reminded me of how like tuned in and locked in I was on trying to find the next like runner. Everyone was always trying to find the next thing. And so when I saw that, I was like, man. So it was so for me, it was a little frustrating to know that I found something, but I didn't double down. Like I didn't. And that's the same with Ticker Bitcoin, Wojak, a lot of this stuff, even Pepe itself. It's like I found all of these things very early on. I saw it and I was like, oh, there's no way this isn't going to be like the picks. And my blunder was that I didn't just double down on it, and I ended up getting kind of trying to leverage trade. Like I started to like think about other avenues to where maybe I can get a little bit more capital to try and then buy these things. But then I got totally like I cooked myself, you know. But it's good though that I have that perception and that I kind of am going back to my roots, going back to the basics, because then I think I'm truly going to be very successful. I'm getting another chance. That's the beauty of crypto, is that whatever you are buying and you were bullish on previously, if it is bullish, you still have a chance. You still have a chance. That's the beauty of crypto. It's like, if you still have this thesis, and I still believe in this thesis on Brett, to the point I'm willing to buy back in, because that's what I originally believed. And it wasn't because of a KOL coming on the timeline to tell me this. I found this shit on my own. Same with Ticker Bitcoin, same with Wojak, and Pepe was kind of more of like an immaculate conception that hit the timeline, and like it was just kind of like, oh, whoa, there's a Pepe, there's a coin now. At least this particular one. I just saw it all happening, so I'm going back to the roots. But shout out to I was seeing the chat, shout out to the people that are on X. Thank you. Greg from New York said, "What's up? Awesome interview with Ragsy the other day." Thank you. We were just going off. I think I knew I was gonna get her going once we started getting into the memes, and we touched on the Lego story, you know, just kind of a little bit, but I really wanted to get into like her thesis. I just wanted to, you know, pick her brain and see how she also was discovering, you know, these particular coins and how she picks it, and what defines something that has lasting power, because she was actually, her claim to fame was that she actually called Pepe, she called Brett, SHIB, and one other coin pretty early on. So if you got any qualms with Ragsy, go look at her track record. That's why I had her on the channel. I don't just get anyone on the channel, you know. I'm not just, it wasn't even, because some people would think I'd bring her on the channel so then she could shill Rage Guy, so then whatever. Absolutely not. So my thesis still stands, and I'm willing to go back in on Brett. I'm willing to go back in on Wojak. I'm willing to go back in on Pepe and all of these things to prove a point. Polygon. Like, you know, Ethereum, Kronos, all this stuff I was bullish on 3.5, 4 years ago. Nothing's changed. So this is how I'm adjusting. I'm not getting distracted anymore. I'm not going to give these exchanges my freaking money. You can if you want to, but I'm going back to the damn roots, baby. You know, I might try and, you know, see what's going on. I might, you know, be a part of some of these new culture coins that are based on some good narratives, like what Ragsy pointed out, because if it aligns with my thesis, I will then see what it's about. Like Zera is brand new. I wasn't thinking about buying any privacy coins at all. Maybe Monero, but not Zcash at all, because Zcash has been pumping like crazy. It's just like an obvious, like, you're going to buy the top of Zcash right now, you know? So I thought to myself, this aligns perfectly, and it wasn't planned that my buddy Headband all of a sudden was like, look at this privacy thing that's new, and that is kind of aligning with what we should be paying attention to in crypto to begin with, is privacy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pay. I'll check it out. And so now it's just something that I'm just kind of just like one of those, and that's what you have to do in crypto. You got your conviction bags that you just have your thesis, and then you also are going to be open to something like what I just explained. And that's how that's really truly how you are going to be successful. You're going to have your convictions, you're going to be very much like locked in, but you're open to discover and see what the heck's going on. Because that's ultimately what we were doing to begin with, way back, but just looking on chains, seeing what's happening, seeing what real money, what real volume coming in is, what they're buying, what's going on, see if we can follow the trend. And yeah, that's how we're doing it. But guys, my stomach is literally like eating itself. I've got to eat some food. Did not eat any breakfast, so I'm about to croak over. But I really appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you to all the people that are watching on X, and thank you to all the people that are watching on YouTube as well. Really appreciate you. Make sure you guys on YouTube like share this, man. Like comment, do something. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm providing pretty decent content. Like, I don't think it's bad. So it's like, I know it's not like you could say, whoa, just you do better, bro. Why don't you just make better content and then you have better algorithm? It's you. Yeah, I don't think it's me. Yeah, I'm actually going to say it. Yeah, I think I'm confident enough in myself that I'm producing pretty damn good content. I think it's YouTube. All right. So help me with this and share it, evangelize it, put a comment, share it to your friend so we can get the algorithm going on it. And that would be very, very much appreciated. Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. Again, love you very much. Have a good rest of your day. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace out. And if you didn't catch any of these interviews that I have done recently, make sure you are following me at Dano Crypto 904. And if you click on media, we should be seeing, you should see the, or actually no, it's like, it's really weird how they're hiding some of this stuff now, especially the live streams. Oh, by the way, Elon, you need to have a live stream tab. There's posts, replies, highlights, articles, media, and likes. You need to not batch everything in just media, because look, when you click media, my live stream is not in here. Where is it? It's just on my posts, and then I have to either pin it or reshare it or find it for someone to see it. If you're going to want people to use this as the de facto live stream platform and combat with all of the other ones, you need to start to implement live features, because we're all using this thing and we need it to do better. So please do better, please, and fix the algorithm also for small accounts that are constantly using your platform. And you're letting literally like bot accounts and AI accounts and scam accounts get more algorithm than the people that are like real, showing our face. We're not a cartoon character, and we're here using the damn thing. But yeah, I digress, but let's go. So if you guys want to be a part of having the little guy win here, you'll make my channel go freaking viral as hell. And you're coming, and I'm bringing you with me. No soldier left behind. But yeah, here's Red Kev's interview. Check that out. And then also, if you want to see the Ragsy one, it is, we got some clips here. But yeah, you just have to go down a little bit and you'll end up seeing it. But thank you guys very much. I'll see you on the next live stream. Peace.